The financialization at the top that I mentioned before, the privatizing that goes hand in hand with all public spaces, be it public prisons, privatize, money to make, put it on Wall Street, stock market. Education, privatize. Conversation, privatize. Look how decrepit our public conversation is. Fox News on the one hand, deeply mean-spirited, cold-hearted, right-wing propaganda. MSNBC, milquetoast, spineless, neoliberal, democratic propaganda. How many of them talk about poverty in any serious way? How many talk about Wall Street in any critical manner? How many of them talk about the working class, devastated in the last 30 years? Stagnating wages, but productivity quadrupling. Wealth hemorrhage again at the top. Big money controlling both political parties. Oftentimes the same agents of big money, same oligarchs, same plutocrats over big money. Doesn't make a difference what color they are. A lot of people come down so hard on me. Oh, Brother West, how come you so hard on Barack Obama? I'm not hard on that brother. I'm hard on the system that he is the face of. If he wins and bails out Wall Street, doesn't bail out homeowners, and doesn't bail out poor children, if interest rates for banks for the last 3 years, $85 billion every month to banks, but Detroit needs 17 million and can't get hauling anything at all, that shows to me warped priorities in the name of Martin Luther King Jr., in the name of Fannie Lou Hamer, in the name of Stokely Carmichael, in the name of Mumia Abu-Jamal and so many others. You say, wait a minute, there's some moral standards and spiritual standards that come out of a tradition of peoples, not just black peoples, but black people oftentimes have to lead the struggle precisely because it is the black, weak, and vulnerable ones who catch the most hell and people care least about. That's the history of the country. And there's a rich tradition. Our Italian brothers and sisters, Irish, Scottish, and others, stepping up, straightening their backs up. They constitute the prophetic loaf. And they got a lot of cousins that don't constitute the prophetic loaf. You know how difficult the Thanksgiving dinners are for vanilla brothers and sisters who identify with poor and peoples of color. It can be difficult because you got some aunts and uncles that wonder why you're wasting your life concerned about integrity, decency, and honesty. There's money to make, there's status to gain access to. Don't you know you can have that position if you would just turn your back? And they say, no, I can hear Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel saying, indifference to evil is more evil than evil itself. Yet indifference, William James says, is the one trait that makes the very angels weep. To turn your back, to become so hardened of heart and coarsened of conscience and chilly in your soul that you're not moved by other folk who are wrestling with levels of indecent education, poverty, near starvation, not just here but around the world. How do we awaken our neighbors? It's only by means of example. Only by means of example. And it's here, in fact, where the Socratic imperative of raising the most critical questions, pushing one's own self against the wall, is never a question of just name calling and finger pointing. You begin with yourself. I've been struggling against white supremacy for 45 years, and I still got white supremacy inside of me. How come, Brother West? I was born in America. Right. Look in the souls of black people. You don't need white brothers and sisters around to see white supremacy operating. Just look in the souls of black people. What do you see? Too much white supremacy in there. Too much sense of disrespect of oneself and others that look like one. Too much sense of violation, destruction. Flagellation. Same is true for our sisters. Look inside of women, you still see male supremacy operating inside of them. They have to wrestle with it every day of their lives. I'm less intelligent. I have to view myself through the lens of the male normative gaze. What do I look like in the eyes of men? Because I'm in such intense competition with these men to gain access to some kind of partnership. Oh my God, how narrow, how truncated. Same is true with our gay brothers and lesbian sisters. The sense of straight sensibility they've been socialized into. They got to wrestle with it. That's what the Socratic sense of learning how to die is all about. How do you learn how to kill it? There's a wonderful, wonderful line of Dorothy Day that she wrote when Martin Luther King Jr. was shot April 4th, 1968. She says in the Catholic Worker, she says, Martin Luther King Jr. learned how to die daily, as St. Paul said and wrote. Because Paul says what in the New Testament? Christians must die daily. To kill that fear. Quit being so intimidated. Quit being so scared. Have a sense of being free. Have a sense of being able to think for one's own self. And lo and behold, it is a challenge. That's why we need each other. That's why Sister Pam is here on the 67th birthday, because she knows as much as she can celebrate on her own, to be in a sense of community. That's right. And feel the motion and feel the momentum, to know that she's on the move because there's others alongside her, and you don't have to agree with each other ideologically and politically on every issue. You just have to decide you're going to be courageous enough to cut radically against the grain, not in a spirit of self-righteousness, because no one of us have a monopoly on truth or goodness or beauty. There's a certain humility built in, but the humility is tied to a tenacity.